All right, let's do another Dynasty Draft experiment. And this time, we're only going to select either this year's rookies or last year's rookie class. And that's it. We got rookies, we got sophomores, nothing else. Brand new Dynasty Draft experiment starting right now. Alrighty, so let's just switch that up so you can see that a bit better. There we go. So we're just going to pick kind of a random number here. I'll just stop here. We'll go team number 9. And we got team 9, and I'm only going to pick this year's rookies or last year's rookies. So rookies and sophomores only. Obviously, in an ideal world, I'd be trading back to get a lot of these players, but we can't do that on here. So we're just going to see what happens. We'll go through this as quickly as we can, and unfortunately, a lot of these players coming off early, I would have quite liked to have got as well. So let's see who is available. And obviously, you got people up here like Justin Jefferson who you would love to get, but hey, we can't take him, unfortunately, because it's only last year's rookies and this year's rookies. So Justin Jefferson not available to pick. Kyle Pitts is the highest guy on there. So have a look at those quarterbacks. Jalen Hurts, Russell Wilson, Trey Lance is there. He is an interesting one. I wonder if Trey Lance would fall back to us. Probably, right? So let's go ahead and let's take Kyle Pitts here, and we'll lock him up, and hopefully we'll get some good players coming back around to us again. We're looking for that youth and really trying to feel experience here to see what kind of team we can build. And I can see that Trey Lance still sitting there along with Breece Hall, who would be an interesting prospect. I'm going to go ahead and take Trey Lance here, the quarterback, to get him locked up. This is super flex. So we've made a start of Kyle Pitts and Trey Lance, which, pretty good. A lot of people might make that start in a regular startup without the restrictions that we've put on. So got to be pretty pleased with the start so far. So let's see who falls to us. Now coming into the third round, Trevor Lawrence sitting up there, who would be an interesting prospect, along with Justin Fields. Travis Etienne, of course, hasn't played yet. Drake London, one of the rookies from this year. I'm going to go ahead here and lock up Trevor Lawrence. I think, especially with this build, we need to go quarterbacks because there is going to be a fallout. We could go and grab someone like Davis Mills later as a third quarterback that will do a good job for us. Or you know what, we could actually just take Justin Fields, right? But I'm not going to do that just yet. Instead, I'm going to start looking at these receivers because that's what you want to do. If you're building a young team, it's a good idea to get a lot of those young receivers on board. So I got Treylon Burks down here, but Drake London sitting up there. I say good value in the fourth. He's not really that good of value in the fourth round of startup, but he's good value in the experiment that we are doing today. As Justin Fields does go off the board, I definitely would have taken him if he came back to us in the fifth round. So again, I'm looking at receivers here mostly, and Treylon Burks still there. Garrett Wilson, who I quite like as well, is still sitting there, as well as people like Devonta Smith, who I really like. In fact, I'm a bit surprised that Treylon Burks and Garrett Wilson are going ahead of Devonta Smith. I might have to go Devonta Smith, but let's flick over to all and have a look and see. No one else really there standing out. Mac Jones, of course, I could lock up, but I'm not really too interested in doing that. Not much going on at running back as far as I can see. We might go and grab someone like Elijah Mitchell later on. So I'm going to go ahead here. I'm going to take, although he might come back to me. He probably will come back to me, won't he, actually? I'm going to take Garrett Wilson here, who I like above Treylon Burks. Treylon Burks not look good in training camp. But I don't know. I don't trust Treylon Burks, really. I don't like what I've seen so far. Obviously, they give up a lot to get him, but I thought Garrett Wilson was a better player in college. So naturally, I think Garrett Wilson's a better player now, and I don't see why I should change my mind before I've seen them play in the NFL, really. So I'm going to get Garrett Wilson, and I'm going to hope Devonta Smith comes back around. That would be absolutely ideal. Perfect. Devonta Smith comes back around. I'm not even going to look at anyone else. I'm just going to take him. So now we've got Pitts, Lance, Lawrence, Drake London, Garrett Wilson, Devonta Smith locked in as our team. lots of youth in there, lots of promise in there. Yeah, pretty happy so far. Obviously, not a contending team this year, and we're hoping that Elijah Mitchell, this is going very well, folks, right? Elijah Mitchell is there. I'm going to take Elijah Mitchell here. Looked really good last year. Looks like he will be the lead back again at San Francisco, which is obviously Dynasty gold, right? So we're going to take Elijah Mitchell there. And, I would quite like to lock up another running back here, but, Edwards-Helaire obviously going into his third year. Yeah, there's not a lot here that we can pick because of our restrictions. Some of these guys later we might have a look at. So let's see who's available here. As Kenny Pickett is there. That is an interesting idea. And I do like Sky Moore as well. Interesting that they're going so close, and Kenny Pickett is kind of unanimously going ahead in rookie drafts, and yet they're so close here in a startup draft. I don't really need that third quarterback just yet. So I'm going to go ahead and keep building the youth at receiver. I'm going to take Sky Moore as well. A bit of a homer pick as I'm a Chiefs fan, but, I'm going to take him. We're going to keep building that youth. I think the 8th round, the startup, is way too early for Sky Moore. I just want to make that clear, but, we've got these restrictions that we're under here. So let's see how we do as we come back. Right. And you know what? Hey, Kenny Pickett is still there. That might be too good to pass up. I do like Davis Mills, who's down here at the minute. But yeah, I think Kenny Pickett here is maybe too good to turn down. Let's see. Any running backs there? Damian Pierce could be interesting. I think we might be able to get him later, maybe. So let's go ahead and let's take Kenny Pickett here. And we might even be able to get 4 quarterbacks, which actually mightn't be the worst idea in a build like this where you got young quarterbacks. None of these guys are established yet. None of the quarterbacks that we have. Trey Lance not established. Trevor Lawrence not established. Kenny Pickett not established. So maybe it's a better idea to start collecting some of those quarterbacks. And you know what? I'm actually going to double tap it. I'm going to take Davis Mills as well. And hope that at least 2 of those guys, get some good production next year. And I can feel safe about starting in my quarterback slot and my super flex slot. So I'm very happy now. I don't really have to look at quarterback. Not that there's much left anyway. So I can have a look at some of these other positions. And, I think I need to start looking at running back now as well. I've only got Mitchell. But then again, I'm not really contending this year. I've got this young team, so I'm not too worried about fading running back. If I fade running back, I'll not do as well, which means my pick will be higher. So we'll get more great youth coming into the team. So let's have a little look and see who we got. Malik Willis, not interested in. Desmond Ridder. Tyler Algier, interesting prospect. I'd be drafting him to sell, to be honest. Trey McBride is a good one for the future. I've got Kyle Pitts. So it'd be good to lock up Trey McBride as well as that second, tight end. I think that is maybe where I'm going to go. John Mechie, obviously terrible news about him. Wishing him all the best. Let's go ahead and let's take Trey McBride here and get him locked up again. We're looking at a team for the future. Obviously, he's not the guy over Arizona. That's going to be Zach Ertz. So Trey McBride, one for the future for sure, but he fits in lovely in this team. So let's have a look and see who we have here. Alex Pierce still there. I think Michael Pittman is the man. So I'm not sure how much work that Alex Pierce is going to see. I think we might be able to do better here. Let's have a little look. We'll scroll down. No one really standing out. I do like Zamir White. I think he will definitely come back to us, though. So Desmond Ridder's an interesting shout as well, but we're sort of sorted at quarterback. I think we're going to have to go Alex Pierce, Yeah, no one else really standing out there as, a game changer. Alex Pierce gets some good depth. He might do well. Let's get Alex Pierce locked in. We don't want to reach too much. Ramondre Stevenson would have been a great shout as well there. But, he just went before we managed to lock up Trey McBride. And let's see who's left for us here. I know, obviously, we still only got 1 running back. I'm not panicking too much. I could take someone like a Zamir White here or a Jill Tolbert, Wan'Dale Robinson I really like as well. Again, Zamir White, I think going forward, he should, if he does well, end up with that starting gig next year at Las Vegas, which would tie in well with a lot of these players going into year 2 and year 3, more ready to compete. Hopefully, Zamir White gets it done. So we'll take Zamir White there in round number 13, and we're swiftly back on the board again. Robinson went there, unfortunately. Tolbert went there, unfortunately. 2 players I was kind of looking at. Let's have a look and see who is available. Johnny Woods is there, Chuba Hubbard. Keontae Ingram's an interesting one. He could carve out a role this year, but he doesn't really fit what we're trying to do with this team here. Same with Hassan Haskins. I'm going to go ahead and take a guy who's looked pretty good in training camp, all things considered. He's part of a super high-powered offense here. I'm going to take Khalil Shakir, I think, and get him locked up and just play on the upside that he has there. Again, obviously, given the choice, I'd be taking other guys ahead of him, like a Tyler Boyd who's just come off there. But hey, we're just experimenting here, right? That's the whole point of the show. So let's see who we've got coming back on the turn. And again, a lot of these quarterbacks stacked up. I'm not really interested. In fact, let's just turn that off and let's just put on flex here. Donovan Peoples-Jones. Nope. None of these guys really standing out. Van Jefferson wasn't a rookie last year, was he? No, he wasn't. So let's see who we can get in. Joshua Palmer. He's an interesting prospect. Maybe go with him. Nico Collins, I do like a little bit more though. So I'm gonna go Nico Collins. I think he had a really solid year last year and will continue to improve on that. And there's not too many people competing for those targets. Obviously, you got Brandon Cooks, but I think Nico Collins should carve himself out a nice little role there as well. So let's have a look and see who's left. Trey Sermon, I mean, that's an interesting one, right? He could end up taking off. He could end up doing really well. Obviously, the ideal world is not to have Trey Sermon as running back too. But he might be worth the risk. In round 16, I took him in Scott Fishbowl this year. New offensive coordinator coming in there now, obviously. His old guy obviously gone off to Miami. Yeah, I'm going to take Trey Sermon here. Bit of a risk. But, in the 16th round, only taking these young guys. Put it this way, Isaiah Pacheco just went off. I'd rather have Trey Sermon than Isaiah Pacheco. So I'm quite happy taking Trey Sermon there. As a lot of these quarterbacks fly off the board. We will have a little check to see, if someone like Davis Mills is there. I don't think he will be. No, I don't see him. No, Davis Mills is not there. So let's have a look and see who else we got. We got 2 tight ends. Any other ones? I'm going to take my guy Daniel Bellinger in the last round. So we'll have a look at another wide receiver here. And, Josh Palmer's still there. Romeo Doubs, Justin Ross, who isn't looking great. Ellis Jones, who's a million years old. Let's go. Yeah, man. Let's go Joshua Palmer here, right? Let's get Joshua Palmer locked up. Just for, again, that upside of that offense. Looked pretty good last year. Could carve himself out a nice role. Let's get Josh Palmer in and let's hope. Well, let's not hope Mike Williams gets injured. That's not a very nice thing to say. But if Mike Williams gets injured, Josh Palmer has a nice role there. And then I said, I'll take my guy Daniel Bellinger at the end. I think he's going to have a great first season for a tight end. And let's see where that leaves us overall. Hopefully, I've not left out anyone glaringly obvious. But this is what it looks like if you draft rookies and sophomore players. You can get Trey Lance, you can get Eli Mitchell and Zamir White, you can get Drake London, Garrett Wilson, Devonta Smith, you can get Kyle Pitts, Sky Moore, Trey McBride, Trevor Lawrence, Kenny Pickett, Davis Mills. I already had Davis Mills. Oh, cool. Davis Mills, Alex Pierce, Khalil Shakir, Nico Collins, Trey Sermon, Joshua Palmer, and Daniel Bellinger. Is this going to win the league in your first year? Nope, absolutely not. Could this team in 3 years' time be an absolute disaster? Odds on, probably. Or it could be an absolute blinder. What I would love to do is go back to this episode, this time, in 2 years' time and see what this team looks like, whenever these guys are into the year 3 and into year 4 of their careers. That'd be super interesting, I think. But would I recommend this tactic? Only rookies, no, only sophomore players. Only if you're going to trade back, right? I wouldn't recommend reaching ever, really. So if you're going to do this, make sure you're trading back and getting as many picks as you can in those middle rounds where you can just snap up all of those guys as much as you can. And I'd also recommend, fading that running back position because you're not ready to compete. So why get those short-term guys in your team whenever you're not ready to win short-term? So that'll be my advice. I enjoyed that. That was fun. Always good doing these experiments. And we'll see you next time for another one. Bye.